Patsy Cline's death, known as the day country music died, is infamous, but few know the most chilling details about that day. Patsy Cline wasn't just a woman in country music, she was the woman in country music. The one who sang her way out of a horrific childhood, poverty, near-death experiences, messy relationships, and the industry's men-only gates. Patsy's life gave her endless materials for sad songs from its start in 1932. We don't have to look any further than her parents, Hilda and Samuel Hensley. Samuel was a 41-year-old widower and a deadbeat dad to a set of kids from his previous marriage. Hilda was a 16-year-old he rushed to marry months before Patsy's birth. And then he became even more wicked. Patsy Cline grew up with two Great Depressions, the economic one and the one her dad caused. Samuel's job hunting led to the family moving around Virginia 19 times. The only thing they could rely on him for was his drunkenness and brutality. Patsy had it the worst, and Samuel abused her in every way. Her way out was unexpected and dangerous. Patsy's vocals had a one-of-a-kind origin story. Rheumatic fever and throat infections hospitalized a 13-year-old and then stopped her heart. It looked like the three Hensley siblings were about to become two, but the aspiring singer woke up, opened her mouth, and shocked everyone. Her voice wasn't the same, it was even better. She needed the silver lining because her life was about to get even more depressing. Patsy was 15 when Samuel abandoned the family. She dropped out of school to work odd jobs, including chicken butchering, to keep her mom and younger siblings alive. Patsy had to give up her education, but she refused to give up her only dream. Patsy always knew opportunities would never fall into her lap. She was too poor and too female. So Patsy put herself out there. And boy did she. Patsy was still 15 when she finessed a dream audition for the Grand Ole Opry, the place for country music, and Nashville. But she was also in for a brutal surprise. Hilda and Patsy couldn't afford the trip there, but they went anyway. They slept in a park only to be ghosted afterwards, so her dreams continued to drift further out of reach. Some celebrities are overnight successes, but Patsy Cline wasn't one of them. For years, Patsy sang at any venue with any artist and to any audience. She trudged home after midnight. Then just a few hours later, Patsy went up to work her day jobs, the ones that actually fed the family. Rinse and repeat. Patsy told her skeptics, "Just you wait, I'll show you. I've made my wish on a shooting star. Someday I'll be a country singer on the Grand Ole Opry. I'll make records and everybody will know my name." Fame and success eluded Patsy, but love didn't. When she joined the band Bill Peers' Melody Boys and Girls, she expected just another gig. But Patsy didn't find the band. She found Bill. The band leader became her manager, mentor, and lover. The musicians couldn't stay away from each other, even when they should have, especially when Bill was on a mission as a manager. If Patsy was going to be a star, she had to be his star. Bill went into debt and went crazy for her. To say he was in love with her would be an understatement. But it all had a dark side. Bill wanted to spend every second glued to her. He decided he couldn't live without Patsy, and wanted to marry her. Patsy rejected him, and for good reason. As it turns out, Bill had a wife and son. He was ready to get a divorce, not that it changed Patsy's mind. Bill was fun, useful, but nothing could make her love him. Bill could comfort himself knowing Patsy wasn't interested in marriage at all. Well, at least not with him. Enter Gerald Cline. He was a regular at the lodge the band often performed at. Sparks flew, at least on his end. Gerald admitted, "It might not have been love at first sight when Patsy saw me, but it was for me." What Patsy saw was a man who was 7 years older, short, stout, but Gerald also had something rare and irresistible. It was love at first sight for Gerald, and cash at first sight for Patsy. The fact that Gerald owned his family's successful construction company made him a 10. They married within months, to the shock of everyone, especially Bill, who she was still seeing. Patsy wasn't also really into Gerald, but she hoped she could learn to love him, especially if it meant financial security. Patsy soon realized something wasn't right. Gerald didn't own the family business. He just worked there. Patsy thought she was marrying her way out of poverty. But this was something that she didn't know, and the red flags get even bigger. They had to face reality after the honeymoon period. Gerald wanted a stay-at-home wife, but Patsy needed more. Patsy was still an up-and-coming artist, so she had to seize every opportunity, even if it meant coming home late or being away from her husband. Gerald scolded Patsy, saying, "It's time you start being a wife. Don't forget, you're Miss Gerald Cline." Without missing a beat, Patsy said, "I'm Patsy Cline, and don't you forget it." Now Gerald knew about Bill and Patsy. Patsy knew about Gerald and other women. Bill knew she and Gerald had an on-again, off-again relationship. Neither men knew about her secret flings with other men. Bill kept trying to make Patsy not only a star, but his wife, but she already felt imprisoned by her marriage and first record deal. But then enters Charlie Dick. Like the much older Bill and Gerald, Charlie was 2 years younger than Patsy. He also had a tragic childhood. Like Patsy, he was 15 when his life changed. For Charlie, it was when his father took his own life. When Charlie saw Patsy perform, he knew he had to have her. It was love. At first song, Charlie didn't care that Patsy was married or that Gerald was in the same room. Patsy played hard to get at first, but this didn't last long. Her life would never be the same. Now Patsy Cline was ready to move on, especially with landing a spot for the show Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts. She went home to tell Gerald the news and to get her luggage. After another fight, Patsy walked out for the last time. The world was waiting. She was ready and newly in love. Of course, this was when Patsy's past came calling. Patsy discovered her dad was dying of cancer at the end of 1956. Despite all of the horrific things Samuel had done, Patsy couldn't ignore it. She confessed to her mother, "I know what all he did, but it seems he's real sick and may not make it. In spite of everything, I want to visit him." And so Patsy revisited her old life just when she was about to start a new one. It didn't go quite according to plan. After Patsy told her dad about Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts, she went from excited to furious. Samuel used the little energy he had to lecture her about big cities, danger, and staying home. She tore him a new one. But Patsy softened when she saw her frightened and frail father. She ended the visit on a high note, saying, "You've never really heard me sing. I'm pretty good." Samuel promised to watch her on the show. He didn't make it. Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts was a competition show. The winner was decided according to whoever the audience cheered for the loudest. On January 21, 1957, that was Patsy and her song, "Walkin' After Midnight." It was Patsy's big break, and also time for a big breakup. Gerald celebrated his wife's victory by filing for divorce. Patsy confessed she had no idea what love was when they married. Thanks to Charlie, Patsy thought she had learned, but she kept a memento from her past romances. She was encouraged to ditch her real name, Virginia Patterson Hensley, for Patsy. And she used Gerald's last name for the rest of her life. It was a new name for a new woman. It was time for Patsy and Charlie to move their relationship forward. He proposed during his break from training. Patsy was so over the moon. Her mom couldn't say the same. Charlie had many fans, but Patsy's mom, Hilda, was never one of them. You see, Charlie was a real-life Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Sober. Charlie was a delight. Drunk Charlie was a demon. In September of 1957, Patsy married him anyway. It was the first time Patsy defied her beloved mom's wishes. As it turns out, Mom actually does know best. Love may be blind, but marriage is an eye-opener. Patsy Cline had a new husband, but it was the same old story. Charlie couldn't handle her increasing success. He was jealous, and he didn't stop at calling his wife unspeakable insults. There was also the drinking, the gambling, the overspending, and the cheating. It gets even worse. Patsy and Charlie's honeymoon was over before it began. And when Charlie took it to the next level, it was brutal. It didn't take long for him to escalate into beating her. People could only watch as she showed up with physical injuries. They lost count of how many times the couple were on again and off again. Patsy felt like she couldn't leave, especially when having 2 kids. But as Patsy's marriage fell apart, her career fell into place. Patsy Cline needed a fresh start, and Nashville needed a new star. Randy Hughes, her new manager, managed to do what the old one couldn't. Randy helped Patsy become a star who actually made money. Their moves included signing with a better record label, becoming a member of the Grand Ole Opry, and releasing hits like I Fall to Pieces. But Patsy couldn't enjoy the success. Something ominous was nagging her. In June of 1961, Patsy Cline and her brother Sam were driving when another car struck them head-on. The impact threw her into the windshield. Patsy showed her true colors when the paramedics arrived. She insisted that the first responders help the other car first. Patsy thought she wasn't injured, but she was dead wrong. 2 of the 3 passengers in the other car didn't make it, and Patsy wasn't far behind. Her injuries were life-threatening, and time was running out. They rushed her into surgery, but doctors doubted that she'd survive. And if Patsy pulled through, she would be disfigured. Against all odds, Patsy woke up with an unbelievable story. Coming up after her dangerous surgery, Patsy Cline told her husband, "Jesus was here, Charlie. Don't worry. He took my hand and told me, 'Not now. I have other things for you to do.'" Patsy didn't want to waste any time, so just 6 weeks after the incident, Patsy was ready to do those things. Even if her body, weakened, scarred, and in crutches, wasn't, music would never be the same because of her. Life was tough, but Patsy Cline was tougher. She recorded Crazy, even though it hurt to sing. The song didn't just become her biggest song, it became a classic and the standard in country music. Patsy Cline sang like an angel on stage, but played hardball off of it. At the time, concert promoters often burned artists by promising to pay them after shows. But Patsy was no fool. Her motto was, "No dough, no show, no exceptions." She declared, "Nothing men do surprise me. I'm ready for them. I know how to whack below the belt." So when a promoter couldn't pay the lineup in advance, Patsy knew what she had to do. Patsy informed the audience that they refused to play due to non-payment. The audience booed and cursed, but Patsy remained unbothered. Her nickname was Decline for a reason. The promoter found the money in minutes. She got their cash, and the audience got their show. Patsy could be difficult, rough, messy, and rebellious, but she was good in a way few people are. When Patsy became a country music success, then changed music again by crossing over to pop, she didn't lift the ladder up behind her. She helped up-and-coming women in music in incredible ways. No one knew this better than Loretta Lynn. She saw herself in the newer artist. Both were the same age and had difficult childhoods, but Patsy went above and beyond. Patsy mentored her. She stood up for Loretta against mean girls. She cooked her dinner. Patsy paid for everything from rent to curtains. Patsy's kindness makes what happened next even more sickening and tragic. Patsy Cline was on the lineup at a charity concert in Kansas City. She would travel there on Randy's plane. Her manager had taken up flying and bought a small plane for Cline's convenience. Before Patsy left, a friend urged her to be careful. Patsy's response was chilling. Patsy Cline replied, "I've had 2 bad accidents. The third one will either be a charm or it will kill me. Everyone planned to go home the day after the shows, but they couldn't due to the weather. It wasn't much better the day after. Randy had enough. He insisted it was okay for them to fly home. Randy had his pilot license, but just barely. Randy wasn't trained to fly under instrument flight rules. It's how pilots should fly when they're unable to see through the windshield, usually used in bad weather. Randy had been flying for less than a year and had a measly 160 hours of total flight experience. Everyone learned what a mistake it was to trust him. But by then, it was already too late. Fate kept giving Patsy Clines out from the plane ride she was about to take, and she kept ignoring them. She refused her close friend Dottie West's idea of driving home with her and her husband. Once on the plane, and after the first leg of the flight, Randy landed in Dyersburg, Tennessee, to refuel. There were still high winds and fog, so the airfield manager urged them to stay the night. They refused. Dyersburg to Nashville was a short flight, they had said, but alarm bells sounded when hours passed, and Randy's plane was still a no-show. The radio spread word of the missing plane and its famous passengers. Their loved ones refused to lose hope that they were safe and sound, just lost somewhere. But March 5, 1963 is an infamous date in music for a reason. People in Camden, Tennessee reported a plane going down, but the search area was still vast. They started the search at 7 p.m. and found the impact site at 6 a.m. Country musician and Patsy's friend Roger Miller raced there to find the survivors. He said, "As fast as I could, I ran through the woods, screaming their names. Through the brush and the trees, I came up over this little rise. And there they were. The plane had crashed, nose down." Patsy was a rising star who, at 30 years old, fell for the last time. Her manager and the men flying the plane crashed just 20 minutes after taking off from Dyersburg. Everyone aboard died instantly. The crash scattered debris all over a massive area. Thousands of fans and media attended her hometown funeral. To call their behavior disgusting is an understatement. People stole every flower off her casket. Law enforcement could barely handle the mob. It was so crowded that some of Patsy's actual friends couldn't get through. Amidst the chaos, fans tried to mourn their artist. Her loved ones mourned the friend, mother, wife, sister, and daughter. Some of the people in her life were irreparably broken. Charlie became a widower and a broken man. He refused to move Patsy's things from their home. This crept people out, especially his new wife, Jamie Ryan, who happened to be a country singer who sounded a lot like Patsy. When he kept blasting Patsy's music one night, Jamie said, "Honey, it's late. Come to bed. Patsy's dead. I'm your wife now." Charlie's response was heartbreaking. He yelled, "Listen, she's not dead. How can she be? Here she is, breathing." But interestingly, plagued by eerie premonitions, Patsy Cline had already created a will which dolled out everything she had in April of 1961, less than 2 years before her tragic end. Patsy left everything to her beloved mother and her kids, and she didn't forget about her darling husband. Charlie got nothing but whatever car they had. If the story had ended any other way, this might have been an insult that never came to pass. But Patsy took her will and premonitions seriously. After Patsy's passing, her legacy could have faded, and it almost did. As music trends changed in the 1960s and 1970s, more people churned their noses up at country pop. But by the 1980s, her legacy was bigger than ever. We have biographies, album re-releases, new trends, and a movie to think, and most of all, a daughter's love. No one went harder than her daughter, Julie, who had lost her mom when she was just 4 years old. As she focused on keeping her mother's legacy alive, Julie admitted, "I'm still kind of amazed at it myself, because there's Mom, and then there's Patsy Cline, and I'm actually a fan." 3 albums was all Patsy needed. With 10 hours of music, she became one of the greatest artists in country and pop music. Patsy paved the way for countless artists, from woman and country music to all pop country crossovers. She had just 3 legendary but temporary years at the top. If you enjoyed this Fact in a Night video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more incredible stories. Want to stay in who we cover next? Join our membership program through the link in the description for exclusive perks. Your support means everything to us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.